They say you should never meet your heroes, but I for one completely disagree. Look at this. This is that sort of a bike which is hung in every teenager's wall and is as famous as perhaps Japan. This is so famous that the name Hayabusa is not a name, it's a statement in itself. It's legendary. Now, this was first launched in the year 1999, the same year when movie Tarzan and Matrix came on the scene, and people tend to associate everything with a lot of power, with charisma. The same year when millennials became Gen Z. So you see, the year when this was launched, the year was legendary. Fast forward, it sold over 1 lakh motorcycles, and now this is in its third generation. In fact, the original Hayabusa was crowned the world's fastest road legal motorcycle, and right now, in its third generation, this still looks and feels the same. Now that is legendary. Let's get some important details out of the way. The Busa gets the same 1340cc inline 4-cylinder engine, and it's hard to believe that the already perfect Busa needed an upgrade. So Suzuki has done some tinkering, and let's get on with it. Firstly, it's got lighter pistons, new fuel injectors and connecting rods. And yes, every eyebrow has been raised once on this power, which is down from its previous generation, but the Japanese claim that this is still the quickest Hayabusa ever. Especially in the start and the mid-range, we also agree. There's also that gorgeous new LED headlight and TFT display between that iconic analog instrument cluster. When you hear 190 horsepower, 150 Nm of torque, you will start to imagine that we're talking about a four-wheeler. For example, Hyundai Creta has about 138 brake horsepower and weighs about 1300 kgs. Now compare that with a 190 horsepower machine coming out of a 266 kg machine. Now you can imagine the power to weight ratio and how ballistic the Busa would be as compared to a four-wheeler. The front discs are now 10 mm larger with new Stylema calipers. Another major change comes in front of electronics. Let's just say the Hayabusa is now quite up to date with features like 6-axis IMU, 10 levels of traction control, 10 levels of anti-wheelie control, 3 levels of engine brake oil, 3 power modes, launch control, cruise control, cornering ABS and hill hold control. But enough of that now, it's time for the moment of truth. Have these changes made any significant difference to that unforgettable riding experience? Let's find out. You really can't get tired of riding a Busa. You can ride this all day long. Now, there's bound to be a lot of inquisitiveness when it comes to comparisons from its previous generations, because the Busa has only come thrice in its entire lifespan of 22 years, thrice, which is phenomenal. Now, the Busa has undergone some changes. The handlebar has shifted by 12 mm, which means that the rider has to hold it more closer to the body, which means that you don't really have to stretch your arms, which is a good sign. The fuel tank is 1 liter less, which means now this is about 121 liters. The weight has dropped by 4 kgs. The Busa now weighs about 264 kgs, so which is again very great. The ground clearance is added by 5 mm, so which now stands about 125 mm. In fact, the best part is the Busa still retains the same heart and soul, which is the 1340cc inline 4-cylinder engine, along with the BS6 norms, which is what matters. So what's it like? It's a Hayabusa. It's like the gods have personally christened this bike with all their power, just so as mere mortals can understand what it means to be almighty. The power delivery is brutal and catch you lacking if you're not careful. The Hayabusa stops a lot better than before, which is a relief given the kind of horsepower one has to deal with. The ride is balanced and is surprisingly supple for a bike of this size. Sure, The bike does heat up in some traffic conditions, but that's expected of a bike this large. The handlebar does connect with the fuel pump, and that's a big problem, but it's never really disconcerting. All in all, this bike has an addictive feel to it. You constantly feel like being out on the open road, endlessly overtaking traffic and blasting down the highway. There is no question. The Hayabusa is motorcycling royalty, and it made us feel special in every single way. It's time for a verdict. And to give a verdict to something like a Hayabusa is like getting the wrath of a falcon. Hayabusa, you don't give verdict, you just share your experience. And the experience is that you can ride the Hayabusa for all day, all month, all year of your life, and you won't really complain, because Hayabusa is not its name, it's a statement, it's a legendary. So at 16.4 lakhs, you buy into a statement, you buy into a lifestyle, you buy into something which is iconic, which is, I mean, I can go on and on and on. But there are few flaws of Hayabusa which I have to tell. One is this, that it has got so much of technology, it's got everything that is required, but it doesn't come with a navigation plan. If that would have come, that would have made India trolling much more fun and much more easy. Secondly, the handlebar always hits the fuel tank, so to maneuver and take a turn from a Hayabusa is some work. Apart from these two things, there's nothing really to talk about it. It is legendary. Now, question for you. If you think that the Hayabusa made the Dhoom movie famous, or the Dhoom movie was famous because of Hayabusa, whatever it is, do let us know in the comments below. If you've not subscribed, do that now. I continue my ride on the Hayabusa because you can never get enough of riding a Busa.